Everybody hear it? Dance with me.
Welcome
Thank you, Jordan.
to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
Thank you to the wonderful voice who introduces me. Let's lower that music. Radio Red in the house, and a shout out to my engineer today, Jordan at Voice America Empowerment. It's Monday. Where else would I be? If anybody happened to see my post on Facebook and on LinkedIn, I said, this Friday is Valentine's Day. That's the middle of February. 5 minutes ago, it was New Year's Eve. Where did January go? February is like, I don't know. I'm in East Tennessee. It was 14 degrees at night 2 weeks ago. 2 days ago, it was 72 in the afternoon. We cannot keep track. My electric bill is all over the place. 1 month it's up, 1 month it's down. Are we heating? Are we? Anyway, welcome. This is Read My Lips, where I talk to my wonderful panelists, and you are all officially now creatives. Karen and Lindsay and Machiel, you are all akaRadioRed's creatives. I wanted you to know that. Before we start the festivities, I want you all to put up your hands in the shape of the letter L, please. Make the shape of the letter L. There you go. Lindsay, either hand is fine. Okay, I don't care. And on the count of three, you're going to join me in saying hello, LLL. 1, 2, 3. Hello, L, L, L. Jordan, I didn't rehearse them. It was a little all over the place. Let's try one again. One more time. Hello, LLL. 1, 2, 3. Hello, L, L. Oh, such oomph. I can't believe I got it. Jordan put them tied for number one. That was absolutely great. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legg. She's our most loyal listener. She hasn't been feeling well, but I didn't hear from her today, so I know she's probably better. She's in Whitestone, New York. I've been trying to get her to move to a place that starts with L. London was just too hot and too expensive. Karen knows that. Well, somehow I bought a house over the internet 2.5 years ago, and I landed in Loudon, Tennessee, and I'm still trying to get Laura to visit and see if she wants to be lovely, lanky Laura Legs in Loudon. But Tennessee starts with T. It's a lost cause. Anyway, Laura at 6:01 p.m. Eastern tonight will send me an email with a little message about what Karen said, what Machiel said, what Lindsay said. She listens. She has the promo, and she'll add a little bit about what she enjoyed about each of you on the show. So I want you to know it's absolutely lovely. Hearts to Laura L. There we go. So I have a little bit of an introduction I would like to do. And by the way, it is today, February 10th. It's the 41st day of the Gregorian calendar in 2025. Used to be the Julian calendar, and Julian had a little problem. He forgot about 12 days in the month of October. So if you had a birthday somewhere around the 10th, you didn't get to celebrate it because they went from like the 3rd to the 14th. Machiel, you can look it up. It's historically accurate. And then along came Gregorian. He said to his mom, I'm going to be creative and I'm going to change the calendar. So he made us a leap year every 4th year. He added a day to February, not this year, and everything evened out. So the October people get to have their birthdays. 324 days remain in the year. Woohoo! And it's a 6th Monday, and nobody cares about that except me. Now I'm going to do my welcome, and I have a little poem for each of you, and I hope you enjoy it. When I call your name, just wave. So make sure that they actually know who you are. So welcome to Read My Lips, where akaRadioRed shines bright. Can you see I have lipstick gloss on? Bringing cool conversations with creatives for your delight. In her Scarlett Mike's live streaming glow, I hope I'm not glowing, she opens the door for creative sparks to ignite and inspiration to soar. Today, the revelations of creativity, and I named that because of all of you. Each of you have had creative revelations from your bios. That's what I got. Today, the revelations of creativity will brighten up our day with 3 vibrant creatives whose imaginations play. Passion and purpose helped their paths unfold as they discovered creativity's magic that makes life bold. I think you already like that. Here we go. As a child, Machiel Hoek, wave hello, longed to know life's true way. Why struggle and pain seem part of the play? A CEO's fortune was his to embrace, but his heart called louder, and he changed his pace. His book, The Girl Who Changed the World, helps others unlock their own key to find the secret and truly live free. Machiel, I hope you like that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, okay, good. Lindsay Barnett is with us. She once thought the archaeology passed, but fate took a turn. Helping teams thrive was her true gift, she would learn. From Fortune 500s to startups new and bright, Lindsay champions workplaces that feel just right. With wisdom she shares in her book's Heartfelt Tell, she guides companies from working hell to working well. Lindsay, I hope you like that. We got the title in there. And here we go. At 4, Karen S. Robbins' new art was her delight. New crayons in hand, her world she drew so bright. From romper room TV teacher to author, her stories enthrall. A publisher, inventor, book and toy designer, that's also her call. Creating fun is Karen's passion, her purpose, her way. The gifts she keeps giving children each and every day.
Oh, darling. Thank
Oh,
you.
nobody's called me darling in a long time. I'll take that. So here's my closing. So gather around, lend us your ear and your eye as we dive into creativity with vision clear. I've said I got it backwards. Lend us your eye and your ear as we dive into creativity with our vision clear. Radio Red's roundtable is set today. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. How'd I do? What do you think?
Wow. Wow.
You like that?
Beautiful.
I think I'm the
Yes.
only host who does my guest. I have some other shows where the bios are 48 lines long, where it's a one-on-one conversation. I'll tell you about that later. That's a different show. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Full disclosure, I have a virtual assistant named Sylvia Speed, and some of you might know her with your own name. She's ChatGPT. And I feed her your bios, everything you sent me, Karen and Lindsay and Machiel. And I said, write a 6-line verse that rhymes, please. And she takes how many minutes or seconds? Does anybody think it takes more than 2 minutes? Anybody? For her to come back with part of what you heard. I edited them. I'm the human. Okay. How many seconds? Hold up your fingers. How many seconds you think it took? Lindsay says 5 seconds. Machiel says 10. Karen says 10. It's about 4 seconds. So Lindsay won that one. It's some days it's 2 seconds. Yes. So I'm feeding her about 300 words for each of you, 1,200 words, and she comes back. Then I go through and I match what she did to your bio. She left a lot of stuff out of yours, Karen. I was not happy. I put it back in about the toys, the inventors, everything. Lindsay, we didn't get your full book title in there. I put it in. Machiel, she left something out. So I went in and edited them. I've been writing poetry for years myself. So it's a collaboration of Sylvia Speed and akaRadioRed, and it's with our love to all of you. There you go. So now, I'm going to give you each a chance to fill in the blanks if I forgot anything. Oh, my Radio Red, you might have forgotten something important in my bio. Now's your chance. Machiel, you are first. I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please tell us a little more about yourself? Take 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll go to Lindsay, and then to Karen, and then we'll do your opening quote. So, Machiel, welcome. Talk.
Well, thank you, Red, for this. This is a wonderful intro. Indeed, you're right. And as a child, I just didn't understand the world, and I wanted to find this secret of life. I wanted to discover why the world is the way it is, or was the way it was. And I apparently made it my life work. But first, I just went to study to university, became a CPA, an auditor. That's the opposite, maybe, of creativity, maybe or not. And I try to find, let's say, certainty in certain parts of the world, and try to understand the world by reading. I read over 2,000 books about religions, about spirituality, about aliens, about the ancient wonders of the world. And I had my left brain filled, but I missed the experience. And indeed, when my heart called in and said, if you don't want to go out searching the secret of life now, you'll never do it, and you'll be so unhappy when you're 65. So I did it. I followed my heart, and it gave me an understanding of the secret of life. It gave me the book. It gave me a son. Um, and the last part is, at New Year's Day today, this year, my heart spoke again. I had a heart attack.
Oh, my goodness. And I met you in the fall at the Publicity Summit, didn't I?
Yes, I was.
Are you okay? Are you all
I'm
right?
okay, and I didn't see that one coming, but it was I take it as an invitation to realign things and really make the choices that matter, to really stop wasting time and really focus on me and my heart and the things I want in this world.
We are glad you are here.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
darling.
Thank you. I won't even make a crass joke about how I would have had to fill the panel with somebody else at the last minute. I'm glad you're here. Let's just leave it at that. Thank you so much. And I did start reading your book. You were very kind to send it to me. His book is about a girl named Lisa and her grandpa, and about the people in their life, and about Lisa looking for meaning and value in what she's doing. And it's Machiel, you are a wonderful writer. Your way with words is just mesmerizing. Okay. I was very impressed and enjoyed what I read very much. So thank you for sharing the book with me. I'm sure you're getting that kind of feedback from people. So welcome on so many different levels. We're delighted to have you here. And by the way, Machiel promised he would wear the turquoise shirt he wore at the summit when I met him, and he forgot. But now that I know you had some health issues, I will forgive you. If you come back on the show, you get that shirt for me. Okay. I was really counting. I'm teasing. We love you just the way you are. Black is very elegant on you. Lindsay, rescue me. Lindsay Barnett, welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view. Talk to us. What did I miss in your bio? Go ahead, Lindsay.
All right. Lovely to see you, Red. And shoot, I wish I had sent you my book as well. So I will make that as a note for later. But thank you for putting it into the opening poem. I appreciate it. I guess a little bit about me. I mean, as it relates to creativity, I think I've always felt this need to create. And I think when I look back on my life, I've noticed I've made a lot of pivots. And I think a lot of the pivots have to do with finding the right path for that creativity. And so, I just think about even going back, my son is in high school right now, and it's bringing me back to my high school experience and all the things that I used to do. And I was in student government, and I love to come up with themes and party themes and, events and all of that. And, using my creativity for that. And then moving into college studying archaeology. I don't know where the creativity was in that. but moving down that path, and then ultimately finding my way into advertising, and then pivoting again into human resources, and then pivoting again to write children's books while living in Australia, and then pivoting again. So I feel like a lot of these pivots have gotten me really to where I am today, which is as an executive coach and a HR consultant, hoping to make a difference in the space of workplace well-being, because I think we really need it. So wanting to use my creativity to help individuals, leaders, and organizations get creative so that we can really all work better.
Lovely. Thank you. And your bio said you still go on architectural, archaeological, Red, get it right. Archaeological site digs. Are you still digging, or you just go to observe, Lindsay?
I'm not digging, but this weekend, for example, I was in, at a mission in Mission San Juan Capistrano in Southern California. And it was just lovely to see some of the beautiful sites. So I still have a great appreciation for it.
Nice. I think I'm on my 9th career. I think I counted 7 or 8 in your story. So I understand. Pivot, I just keep finding a little crack in the window and say, hey, that looks good on the other side. Let me open the door in the window and go there and do something else. I don't know. It just keeps happening. Not a lot of planning, but I'm having a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Delighted to have you here. Karen Robbins. Am I calling you Miss Karen or Karen? I'm putting you, I want everybody to take a look at that gorgeous jacket you have on and all the flower. I only have about 8 different colored roses on my desk, and I only wore red today. You're putting me to shame. Karen, please fill in the blanks for us, and welcome, dear.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for that lovely poem. It's an honor to be on your show today. Oh my goodness, my whole life has been creating. I think when I was just 4 years old, I just loved crayons, and getting a new box of crayons was just the biggest gift ever. And I just loved drawing and coloring in my coloring books, and went through elementary school and high school, but I never really saw myself as an artist. And my first art class that I ever took was at the University of Washington, where I really just loved design and my art classes. I got easy A's, and I love children. And so I was majoring in elementary education. and then creative dramatics and speech, and then a minor in art. And but I just loved children forever, and I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, and so I taught kindergarten and first grade. But then I wanted really to make a really big impact on a lot of children's lives. And so I went back to Rochester, New York, where I was Miss Karen on the Romper Room Show, WOKR TV. It was in color for an hour show, and it was the first educational show on television for children. And so I was Miss Karen. It was very challenging and very fun. But then I got my master's in early childhood education and taught storytelling and puppetry and creative arts for the young child, and had my own family. And that was, the joy of my life. But that's when I became an author. And I never, ever, ever thought about writing or being an author ever in my life. And I was reading so many books to my sons when they were little that I think, oh, this isn't that funny, or I think I could write something funnier, or there needs to be a message, and so I started in the magazine market and submitted manuscripts to the children's magazines, and just kept, kind of submitting and learning how to submit to different editors, and then submitted into some educational book publishers, and so I published some books with them and then in the Christian market, and then I got a U.S. patent on a folding apparatus, and this is like Red. I'm a homemaker, and I'm a kindergarten teacher, and I ended up getting a utility patent on a folding apparatus, and really was highly recognized in New York City and Random House, Simon Schuster, all the big houses, even Toys R Us. This was crazy. I was a berry picker, and I worked in the cannery for my summer jobs, and to think a kindergarten teacher could get a utility patent. So anyway, but I became a toy designer and a book designer, and I specialize in mostly board books and picture books and novelty books. And I like to show you, do I have time to show you my book? Since
Yes.
Valentine's Day is
Yes.
coming up, this is I Love You More Than Candy Pops. And it's
Cute.
sweeter than candy, and it's a lovely little picture book for babies and all children of any age. I love you more than horses love galloping. I love you more than dogs
Oh,
love trees. I love you more than cats love napping. And they're all animals. They're all mother and baby animals. And so all children will be able to relate, to the
lovely.
animals in this book. And
Lovely.
then one of my other books is Shoe Print Art, Step Into Drawing. There's
Uh-huh.
55 images that you can make, all from a shoe print shape. And I created this when I was a kindergarten teacher, 40 years ago. And I
Karen.
thought, some kids, they think that oh no, I can't draw. I'm not an artist.
Yep.
I can only do stick figures. And I thought, no, let's try, thinking about what we could make from a shoe print shape. And so you can make monsters and dinosaurs and penguins and helicopters and spaceships, all these things, a clown, whatever, you can make it from a shoe print shape, step by step. So I've really shocked myself, Red.
Well,
I
that's why I'm calling this episode The Revelations of Creativity. In each of you, look at the path you've each taken. You didn't expect to be doing
no,
40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. You didn't expect to be doing what you're doing today. So you all, to
that's
me,
right.
it's not a religious symbol, revelations. I'm not doing anything biblical. I'm saying it evolved. You relevancy happened when it hit your heartstrings, when it plucked at your senses and you said, I want to do this, or I can do this, or I love
Yeah.
to do this, or this is helping somebody. Machiel, you want to say something?
No. I'm nodding. I agree. I totally agree with what you
Yeah,
said.
it's the surprises sometimes. Listen, you all don't know that I started out, I'm an early woman in tech. I was a programmer analyst for a major computer system for the state of Oregon back in the key punch days. I was coding COBOL on a Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 and standing on a step stool to put a disk pack into the drive and punching thousands of cards. I could write 2,000 lines of code on a weekend, bring the box, from the key punch machine to the operator. They loaded it in and my programs ran. I was hired to be my own contract programmer for the state of Oregon Community College. And then I ended up accidentally in marketing, and I found out I know how to speak and write English as well as I can speak and write COBOL, but I was already writing PL1 on an IBM 4341 for another company. And then, I'm in marketing. I'm writing annual reports. I'm writing newsletters. I'm designing executive events for bank presidents of New York State. I never got to go on any of them. I'm designing events for Chase Manhattan Bank and designing laser light shows with people to go and truck down to Virginia to the Greenbrier. I never got to go to that either. And then it has been surprise and radio. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? One day, I started my own TV show. I had 4 TV series on PATV on Long Island. And one day somebody said, come on my show. And I did. And the person on the camera was the general manager of the oldest AM station, AM GBB, Long Island, New York. And she said, come out and have a radio show. She gave me 3 shows a week. I was driving an hour each way and I have my own radio show. I'm just a shy girl from Queens, New York, who was afraid of her own shadow. Yeah, if you believe that, I have a nice bridge to sell you. Anyway, I'm trying to tell you, I'm just discussing here, but my point is that we've had, right, Lindsay, right, Karen, right, Machiel, we didn't know. We thought we were doing something, and then something. I think Leonard Cohen in one of his songs talks about the crack in the window, the light coming through the door. And when I'm mentoring people from time to time, young people, I say, if you see that little spark, that little light, whether it's in the window or underneath the door, push the door open, raise the window, see what's on the other side. That could be something wonderful and magical that you're meant to do next. So there. Well, thank you all for. Oh, the show's over. No, it's not. We have 34 minutes left. Anyway, I told you this is a roundtable. We're talking about our creativity, what gets us going. Karen, I think you're enjoying this. Karen, thank you for showing the books. They are absolutely lovely. You are
Thank you.
powerhouse. I don't think you even understand that you're a powerhouse. You're a machine if you've done this much. There you go. We gave new names for. Okay, everybody, let's go to the quotes. And then we have to go to your creativity statements. But I think we've already done those. Machiel gave me a quote from Alice, played by Mia Wasikowska. I hope I didn't do that too badly. Alice in Wonderland, the 2010 fantasy adventure film, a live action adaptation and reimagining of what else? Lewis Carroll's works, and the remake of Disney's 1951 traditionally animated film. Of course, we're talking about Alice in Wonderland. Here is the quote. Machiel, take around 2 minutes and tell us what this means to you. This is my dream. I'll decide where it goes from here. I make the path. Oh, I love that quote.
Wow.
Yeah. That's powerful. Talk to us. What does this mean to you?
It means to me indeed that anyone is able to make the path. We are raised in a way that the world is out there happening on its own and happening to us. Everything comes to us and we need to react. We need to deal with it. We need to find a way. We need to manifest. But if you turn it around, you could say that the world comes out of us. Like I got goosebumps when you said this, but I got goosebumps in that movie as well. When she is being taught or told, if you do that, if you deviate from the path, and she said, I make the path. This is not my dream. I decide where it goes from here, and I decide my whole life. I didn't know that when I was young that I could do that, and I wish someone would have told me that. Someone told me that you make your own path and you decide where it goes, because that's the only thing that matters in life. You make your own decisions and you have your own experience. Nothing else matters. Be whoever you want to be your highest vision, your highest dream of yourself. But and if it's love or caring or whatever you want to be, just be it, but radiate it, be it with 100% or 200%, but be it fully. And I didn't get that. So I was mesmerized by this quote. Also, when I discovered more about the writer about Alice in Wonderland and of course the story behind that, but it made me understand that life is like a lucid dream. We can steer it any way we want, and if we look at it as a dream or a real thing, doesn't matter. We create it. We create our own life, and that life, our own life, is a masterpiece. It's a work of art. Everyone's life is a work of art, and that was magic to me.
I love that. And by the way, there's a similar quote in The Wizard of Oz when Glinda says to Dorothy, "You had the power all along, my dear." when
Yeah.
she's clicking her heels. That's another one on the same idea that you had it. Did you know it? Did you know what to do with it? Did you want to do something with it? Right? And by
Yeah.
the way, everybody talks today about being authentic. I don't like that word. I think it's overused. It's just too buzzy. I've come up with my own term, and it's real deal. Be a real deal person, right?
I like
That's
it.
why. So if I say you're a real deal, that's a big compliment from me. It's like you're authentic. No, you're a real deal. You're one of akaRadioRed's real deal creatives. There we go. I'm going to move on to Lindsay's quote. Thank you, Machiel. That was lovely. Lindsay has a quote from Dancing Nancy's. Whoa, a 1991 song by DMB. That's the Dave Matthews Band. It's from their album Under the Table and Dreamin', track 6. And let's see now. Where's the line here? I have a couple of lines. Dave Matthews Band is an American rock band, if anybody doesn't know, formed in Charlottesville, Virginia, 1991. Dave Matthews, Carter Beauford, Stefan Lessard, Boyd Tinsley, and Leroy Moore. And only Matthews, Lessard, and Beauford are remaining as of the originals. Lindsay, this won the 1966 Grammy for Best Rock Performance by a duo or group with a vocal. And Dave Matthews Band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just last year in 2024. So here's the quote you have selected. Could I have been anyone other than me? Oh, Lindsay, that's another one. Wow. Go ahead. Tell Machiel, he's sweating there. It was like, I can't believe this. Lindsay, go ahead. Tell us what this means to you.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Thank you for sharing the history of it, Red. I feel like I first heard the song when I was in my early 20s. And so I think it was such a time in my life when I was figuring out who I was. And so, but it's really stayed with me through the years. And I even think about it with respect to my coaching clients. So often we get stuck in kind of our past identities, but really if we can keep looking forward, we can start to shift and think a little bit differently of, do I have to be this way? Does life have to be this way? What if I were to turn it on its head a little bit and, could I be someone other than me?
I think that's where the revelations of creativity come in, that we can. Karen never imagined she'd be an inventor, a toy designer, an author, other than a girl with crayons who wanted to teach kids. You never thought you'd get out of archaeology and go be an HR maven and a coach. Machiel didn't know he was going to write a best-selling book about the quest for truth in life. And I hope that he'll share his book with both of you because I think you will really, really enjoy it. It's just lovely. Thank you very much. Karen, I'm up to your quote. You're quoting Burt Bacharach and Hal David wrote a song that was originally recorded, Machiel knows, recorded by Jackie DeShannon. There's a little history here. It was released on April 15th, 1965 on the Imperial label after the sister label Liberty Records, they canceled it. So this song made number 7 on the U.S. Hot 100 in July. It met number 1 in Canada. And the version that Jackie DeShannon sang was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. However, here's the backstory. They originally offered it to Dionne Warwick, and she didn't like the song. She said it's too country, it's too preachy, but she recorded it anyway years later for her album 30 years later in 1996. And Bacharach initially didn't believe much in the song. He was reluctant to play it for Jackie DeShannon. Gene Pitney, remember Gene Pitney? He rejected it too. And all kinds of stories about the back version of it. There have been some gospel harmony versions of it as well. So the line is, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Okay, Karen, how does this relate to your creativity? Regale us. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for that history. I didn't even know the history, and I didn't know that it had been rejected by some very top people. And uh, I was shocked to read the history of this song, but I think it's one of the most important, powerful songs that has hit my heart forever and ever and lasted forever. And because I believe all throughout history, the world needs love, and we need love more than anything else. And yet, I believe that you can only give what you have. So you first must love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, then you have nothing to, you have nothing to give to loving other people. And I think that um, I just think that that's my message. I know we've been, um, and that's the greatest thing that I feel like wherever I go, I'll live in the moment and just keep, being kind and loving to whomever you're meeting. You don't know what they're dealing with. They maybe no one has even smiled at them or even said hello to them. And so I just think if we could just sprinkle rather than snowflakes or raindrops, just sprinkle love down all over the world, over everyone, because I think everyone needs love and has the capacity to love rather than hate. And
That
I would
that's
just love to have this song be blasted out again and again every day.
Thank you, Karen. That's a lovely thought. And I was interested in how it relates to your creativity. And I think we know when we looked at your books, when you showed
Yeah.
us the baby animals and the parent animals, that's the love. All the
Hmm.
world needs now is love. You are expressing that through your books and through your teaching and through your drawings and through your creative inventions and your toys. So
Yeah.
you are living that. That's what I was looking
Yeah.
for. So we got there. Thank you very much. It's an absolutely lovely song. I enjoy looking up the quotes from my guests. And on my technology show, I asked my guests for quotes, not about the specific topic, but they relate it to the topic. It's not creativity, it's a specific tech topic or an industry topic or a business topic. They relate it to the topic in their own words, but it can't have the words of the topic in it, which is interesting.
Wow.
And I have a collection. Some people say, I don't watch TV, I don't go to the movies, I don't listen to songs. Wow, what rock are you living? Anyway, I have a list of about 200 movie quotes, song quotes, one song wonder quotes from people whose songs, one nonsense lyric songs. And so I just have such a kick out of researching the quotes my guests send me. It's part of my
Mhm.
joy in doing this song, in doing this show, is learning about the origins and I'm fussy. If somebody says, I think it
Yeah.
was in a movie, I have to find that movie quote. I won't rest.
Mhm.
And I found a quote. Somebody is quoting an old John Wayne movie in a show coming up from the summit, couple weeks. And he sent me a quote, and I found the script, page 9 of a major John Wayne movie from the 1950s. And I took it and I copied it and I sent it to him. And his quote was pretty close. There were a couple words different, but I said, here you go. And he was like, where in the world did you? I will turn over every rock until I find the quote. And if I can't find it, you can't use it. There you go. Thank you all for the quotes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a rabbit out of a hat for each of you. I'm going to pick one statement from the creativity statements you each sent me for and ask you to unpack it. And this is where we have time. This is where I'm going to go Machiel first. When he's explaining his, if Karen or Lindsay have anything to say, wiggle one of your cute little pinkies or finger, one of the nice fingers, and I will welcome you to comment. You can say, no, I don't agree with that. Or you can say, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That's wonderful. So I'm going to put words in your mouth. So here we go. Machiel, I'm looking at your statement number 4. And the reason is that you gave habits for your creativity. One is conviction, rock solid conviction. Number 2 is curiosity. We talk about creative curiosity, curious creativity all the time on the show. Another one is excitement. But here's the part I really want to talk about. You say the final part of creativity is it's not mine. I wrote the most important chapters of my book when I was in a state of not knowing, not wanting, not anticipating, when I could get out of my head, switch off my thoughts, and just open myself up. That's when the magic happened. Why don't you finish the story? You take about 2.5, 3 minutes. Machiel, go ahead. The ladies are going to enjoy this one. Go ahead.
Well, you're right about that. I enjoyed the story of J.K. Rowling, how she got her first plot of Harry Potter. And that's almost literally the same happened to me for my second book, which I'm currently writing. But the most amazing experience I had,
Oh,
I just had my book, I thought laid out, and I was going to write X, Y, Z. And I was just then in a cabin in the woods, and I was just trying to get indeed out of my mind, just getting into the flow. And at some points, I just wrote something down, and then I just started. I kept writing. I was communicating with my grandfather. He was already deceased for a long time, but I could write him a question, and he would answer. So it was an amazing experience, and the air was like electrifying. He answered questions that I had, or I answered my own questions, I think, there. And then my father, who deceased as well, came along, and my other family members. And then I started writing a chapter in my book, which I think is the most impressive chapter, I think, which I didn't even plan to write at all. So for me, it was being totally out of my expectations, my plans, and my mind, opening up for something else. And then that would come in. That was wonderful. The experience was wonderful, and the outcome as well.
Very nice. Very, very well put. I wrote a couple of romantic comedy plays a couple of years ago, and I can send you all they're on my Vimeo channel. If you want to see them, I'll send you the link. We had to edit them down to 26 minutes for my TV show because that's where they aired. But what was interesting, Machiel, was I wanted to write a comedy, and I'd done stand-up comedy, and I just felt like it was time to write a play. So I went online and I Googled, what's the outline? How do you write a play? And I got Playwriting 101, and I just copied this guidebook, and it told me what fonts to use, what spacing to use, what letting space between, and how to set up this scene, and how to describe the characters, and how to say when the curtain opened and when the curtain closed. I started at 1 o'clock in the morning. In 3 nights, I had finished the play.
Wow.
And the characters talked to me. I did not do the work. They told me what they were saying in the scenes. It was, Karen, it was the most incredible experience. And then I found community theater actors on Long Island who agreed to act in my play. And I became the coach, the casting director, the producer, the director. We went in the studio. We used green screen. I'll show it to you. I'll send you the link. I think you're going to love it. 26 minutes. Everybody's got 26 minutes. And it just absolutely delighted me. But Machiel, I wasn't sure what I was going to say or do, and it just I was like a channel, right? And when your father and your grandfather talk to you, that's that experience of having your characters. They're in your heart, they're in your head, they're part of you, right? And they just come out. It was Lindsay, go ahead, and then Karen, go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm loving this conversation so much because as you were describing it, people have asked me, how did you write a book? I can barely write, 500 words. And a similar thing, I didn't have the same ancestral lines and, characters speaking to me, but it was a sensation of this book is just flowing out of me. Don't know where it's coming from, how it's coming together, which gives some imposter syndrome, but it's still
banish that word. You're not imposter.
I know, but it's still, it's just there. It just flows, and it really
flows.
is an incredible feeling.
It is. And I like the word feeling instead of experience. I like the way you said that. Karen, join us because I want to go on to Lindsay's statement. Go ahead, Karen, please.
Okay, well, I knew my grandmother had been a poet, and she had her poems published in the town newspaper, but I had never written anything in rhyme before. And I mean, it just seemed like I sat down to write Care for Our World, beautiful picture book, and it was all in rhyme, and it all came. I was at my dining room table, and it just all came in rhyme. And even my one son said, "Mom, you wrote this in rhyme. You've never written in rhyme before." I said, "I know, it just happened." And then I started writing silly poems, and just I was writing 4 little silly poems, every morning when I'd wake up. But either it works or it doesn't work.
Yep.
It's either no, it's not working. It's just terrible. It's horrible. But when you're in that zone, it just kind of comes through you and right on the paper. So I think that's just absolutely true for maybe all creative people.
When you get in that zone. I used to belong to the Writer's Digest poetry group. I stopped in December, but I was with them for 2 years. And every Wednesday morning, very early, the moderator would give a prompt on this website, and we would write whatever we were writing. I wrote a limerick. I had the shell of the limerick every week, and I just changed the last 3 lines because I was Redwood, something about the radio. And then I would write an acrostic with the prompt, and then I found out that a haiku is about nature. If you make it about people and emotions, it becomes a senryu, SENRYU. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, the same exact number of syllables and count as a haiku, but it's called a senryu. There are 126 formats of poetry. I was writing typically 3 to 5 poems every Wednesday, and then every April and November, it was PAD, Poem a Day Challenge. I have a radio show at 11 o'clock on Wednesday mornings Eastern. I'd get up at 7:30 and I'd write sometimes 5 to 8 poems on a Wednesday morning. So in the 2 years, 2 Aprils and 2 Novembers, that's 30, 30, 30, that's 120 days, 5 at least poems, that's 600, right? How am I doing? And then every Wednesday for 2 years, I must have written 700 poems. And I got to love it. I absolutely got to love it. I stopped for other reasons I'll tell you off screen. But anyway, it was just talk about flowing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to write an acrostic. I put the letters down. And Karen, the rhymes. And I love rhymes, but then you learn to do free verse where you don't have to rhyme. And then you say, but I got to rhyme that. Anyway, I want to thank you all. Lindsay, these are good conversations. That's why I do the show this way. You can get all the wonderful one-on-one interview you want, but when you get a group of creatives together, you're going to have these magical conversations. That's why I do this. Lindsay, I'm looking at statement number 4. You say, I'm paying more attention to my dreams as a source of creativity and problem solving. Sometimes when I'm working on a workshop, I take a break and let overnight wisdom take over. I'll think to myself, what exercise could create this? Then I'll wake up. I have the answer. I used to leave a pad of paper next to my bed when I was in high school. I took advanced calculus or advanced placement math, and I used to wake up and have the answer to the math problem. Karen, it really worked too. They were right. Anyway, Lindsay, go ahead, 3 minutes, and then we'll go to Karen. And I think, are you all free to stay a little bit past the top of the hour? Because I want to keep this going. Can you all give me a little more
Sure.
time? Okay, so we'll tell Jordan, we'll wave goodbye to him, and we'll keep going. So Lindsay, talk about this, please. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because this is somewhat of a new practice, I would say, in the last several years of just kind of letting go a little bit and trusting that the answer will come. I think so many years in the corporate world has, you get a little bit confined by the structure, and you need to have an answer the second someone asks you and whatnot. And so I've really been enjoying, especially the last few years, of just letting the answer come. And, whether that's just even doing it, go laying on my couch for 1 minute, just breathing and asking a question. I need this, right? I need the book title. I need, something. And then it miraculously appears. It is a pretty wild ride to just wake up and be like, oh, here's the answer. So I
Well,
don't
you were
know.
thinking about it, right? Your other part of your brain was cogitating on it overnight, right? You were baking it. Anybody have any experience
But
like that?
I'll
Go
add
ahead.
one other thing
Yeah,
though that's
please.
been very interesting too, is sometimes other people show up in my dreams, and then that's my notice that I need to contact them. And then when I contact them, then something else emerges. So I just think that's also kind of a fascinating thing, that they must have something that I need to know, or I need to talk to them about, or they need my support, whatever that is. That's also been kind of a fascinating thing to pay attention
It
to
is fascinating. It can also be mystifying. It can also be disturbing. It can be a little scary, right? I've had people come to visit me after they passed. I'm not a very spiritual person. It's not a thing for me, but I've had people actually come and talk to me with telling them that they love me, or that what they're doing, and it's just been it's very interesting. But in dreams, that's interesting that somebody appears in your dream, Lindsay, and you say, I need to go contact that person. Very, very interesting. This is a creative process. I'm betting a lot of people could identify with everything we're saying, but they're not comfortable acknowledging it.
Mhm.
You get my point? Karen, talk to us. What did you want to say, dear?
Oh, I just wanted to add, just last week, I was given the challenge to come up with a game card. And I thought, okay, she wants a game card. Okay, well, okay, I've got to go for a walk. And I went out for my afternoon walk. And it was only maybe 30 or 40 minutes. But on my walk, I thought, oh, yes, this would work. Oh, yes, it'll work. There'll be 3 or 4 sides. Absolutely. Came home and laid it out in a little sketch. And I thought, oh, thank you, Lord, or thank you, my spirit, whatever. But I was given the challenge, and I think walking helps a lot. Just to get in nature, go for a walk, and you're relaxed and soaking in nature and the sunshine here and the blue sky, and then you're thinking about, while you're walking, you're thinking about the assignment, and there it was. It was
There it
my
was.
answer came to me.
There it was. We got somebody has to write a song if we haven't had one yet. There it was. Right? I think we could all get together and write a song together. My drums are in the other room. I'll go get them after the show. Okay, thank
Machiel has
you.
a piano behind him.
Yes, I know. I
Right.
think, and I've got all these microphones around me. And Lindsay and Karen, you can sing. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, Karen, I'm going to move on to you've already spoken a lot about your books and your inventions. You've told us a lot. And what I would like to do is go to your statement number 1. I think this is going to tell us a lot about you. So Karen says, creativity has saved my life. It's who I am, a right-brained creative. I'm a being who God created to be me. I love building homes. I love interior design. I love decorating for the holiday. I love fashion design. I love flower arranging. And here's the kicker. She says, my eyes tell me what is right and wrong. I have creative eagle eyes. And congratulations to the Eagles for that marvelous win yesterday. I'm sorry. I wasn't planning to watch the Super Bowl, but I couldn't take my eyes off those interceptions. It was like, wow, I'm a football fan all of a sudden. Karen, tell us about this. This is very interesting. The eagle eye, was that what you were just telling us about going on a walk and seeing something that sparked an idea? Where do you get the ideas for your inventions? Where did this folding thing for the toy? Tell us a little story about that, please, Karen.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they've just come, and um, but uh, I think about having eagle eyes, and I know I have very high standards, and I'm very, very fussy, and about most anything and everything, and but I know what I like and what I don't like, and I know if it's the best I can do, or if it's just okay. And I've always had very high standards. I think I read this one book years ago when I was in high school about dare to be different. And it takes courage to be different. And I knew I was different than my peers. But I've always been very fussy, and I just think, no, I just know that my eyes tell me if it's right, if I love it, or no, it can be better. Like I'm making puppets, or I'm making my dummies for my board books. And no, I've got to keep redoing that to make it, I can still do better. But saving my life, creativity has saved my life, um, because I think it's like an escape for me when I've had some terrible losses and difficulties and challenges and disappointments, and battle with depression, um, and um, and loneliness. But when I go into creating writing a new poem or a story, or I'm going to work on a book dummy for a board book, or even to work on my toys, and I need to make a mock-up. I was, when I was very young, I got into sewing, and I sewed, beautiful things, even did buttonhole. So, and now I can't even thread the needle in a sewing machine. And
Welcome to
so,
the club, dear. I think I've gone through 5 sewing machines and I've worn them out. I wore the metal out, actually.
oh wow,
Oh,
good.
yeah. I was a
I
pretty intense sewer. So go ahead, finish, Karen.
Yeah, well, I gave my new sewing machine to my granddaughter. I thought, no, I'm not into sewing anymore. But I mean, I was always creating, but it was like it's an escape for me. And I think creativity has saved my life, because I think Jack Canfield said I was a createaholic, and think
That's a
a
compliment.
createaholic. I think, other people going through some of the problems that life throws you. You could
Yeah.
become an alcoholic or whatever, and I've thought, but I've escaped through creating. Like, I mean, maybe
Yep.
it's just even making a pretty cake, or, whatever,
Hmm.
wrapping a present, just like at Christmas time, I have all these, I think I just can't be ordinary, or they know I'm creative. So, I mean, every little Christmas, gift has to be, the bow has to be right, and everything has to be,
It's Karen.
like, high standards for everything. And I think, oh,
Absolutely.
please. But I think, we all have our special gifts. And I
Yes.
think I really was very fortunate when I realized I'm very creative, because I flunked chemistry, my first quarter of the university, and, sociology and history and all these other subjects, but and math. Oh, I'm terrible at math, but I can just put myself down all the time, and that's not right. We all have special gifts, and I think, no, my gift is creativity.
Karen,
And
you're brilliant. You learned how to lay out plans and probably CAD drawings and put together inventions and toys and books. Are you serious? You just I very often ask my, not on this show, but on other shows, I ask my guests, how do you have for breakfast? What do you drink? I mean, your life is amazing. And then you mentioned loss, and you mentioned depression, and you mentioned loneliness, and you became a real person, Karen.
that's
Instead of
right.
you added a dimension. Am I right, Lindsay and Machiel? You added a
Yes.
dimension, and Machiel had a heart attack, and here he is. And Lindsay
Right.
probably almost fell into an archaeological dig, and then she fell into HR. I mean, we're all. I just want to tell you a quick story about a sewing machine, and we're going to say goodbye to Voice America in 2 minutes. Jordan is giving me, and we're just going to wave goodbye and keep going. So he'll just close us out there. Jordan, I'm not going to play the music because you're not going to put the end music on. I'll do it at the end of the show. I bought a fancy schmancy sewing machine, one of those digital ones, Karen, and I
Um,
couldn't get it to work worth crap. And I was using pillowcases to put fancy edging on. And I had all these ideas. I was going to do quilting, and I didn't like it. One day I'm at the supermarket. I was in Durham, North Carolina for 5 years. I'm in the supermarket, and this lovely young man is the checker. And I said to him, "Is this your full-time job?" And he said, "No, I'm a clothing designer. I design clothing for." He was African American. He was a man of color, and he said, "I'm part of this cooperative here in town, and we take beautiful fabrics and we design clothes and we put on fashion shows." And I said to him, "What kind of sewing machine do you have?" And he said, "Not much of one. I don't really have the money for one." So I invited him on my TV show, which I was doing out of my house, and got to know him a little bit. And then one day I showed up at the supermarket with the sewing machine, and I gifted
oh,
it to him. And I said, "Please be my guest. You will do so much more with this than me sitting here and being frustrated by it." And I told the manager, I said, I forget let's just say his name was Roy. I said, "This is a gift for Roy. It's in a shopping cart. Put it in the back so nobody takes it, please. It's not a grocery item." And she put it in the back. And I got a thank you from him weeks or months later. And I looked at his clothes were just gorgeous, batiks and beautiful
mhm.
colors. And I felt like I was passing along a torch
Right.
for creativity, right? Lindsay or Bucket, Jordan, we're just going to say goodbye. Everybody wave goodbye. Voice America Empowerment, thank you for having us on. Jordan Henson is my engineer, and we're just going to keep it going because we are live streaming on my channels, YouTube. We are on LinkedIn. We are on Facebook on 2 pages. So, Jordan, take us out wherever you're doing, and we're just going to keep going. Bye, Jordan. Okay. Jordan, say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
Bye.